The Dow did close up today. Okay, it was only 4 points, but that's better than nothing. It's certainly better than down. Meanwhile, hang on to your seat for this one. There is already talk on Capitol Hill about the need for a second stimulus package. You heard right. There's word tonight that the first $787 billion might not be enough. Join us live is Steve Moore, economic writer for the Wall Street Journal and co-author of The End of Prosperity. Steve, I want to talk to you about the possibility of a new stimulus bill. But first, to follow up on what Senator Graham was just saying, what is your study showing, or what have you evaluated?
I am so angry. I can't even stay calm on this. I mean, first of all of these spending programs that are getting this 8% raise this year, as Senator Graham said, most of them are getting 50, 60, 70% increases in their budget from the stimulus bill that we passed. There are a number of agencies that I found, in, for example, the Department of Education, that are getting 500% increases in their budget this year. I mean, these numbers are completely out of control. Remember what I said?
It's not even just the numbers out of control. It's the question that the way that it's come across our plate is there's been no time to evaluate to see whether it's even 500% is even a smart thing to do. That's, I mean, I back it up even a step earlier. It might be a great idea.
That was the case with both bills. Remember the stimulus bill, as the senator knows, nobody had a chance to read the bill. I mean, my goodness, the largest and most expensive bill, Greta, in American history, and they don't even give the senators and congressmen 48 hours to read what's in the 1,000-page bill. And the same thing happened with this omnibus spending bill. They basically rammed it through as fast as they could because they didn't want the public to see what was in it. You know, how many times has Barack Obama used the word transparency? Almost every speech he gives, there is no transparency.
But what's so different about today's spending bill, unlike the stimulus bill is because, I mean, one way that you can look at it is that we needed to do something very quickly to stimulate our economy because there's a lot of hardship, a lot of people are suffering.
But Greta, they could have waited a couple of days.
Well, of course,
I mean, my goodness.
Of course, even the president waited 3 days to sign it. He went out to Denver. I mean, look, that's, you know, I agree. If it were so important, they would have signed it right when they flew in the senator from Ohio that night, and they would have done it then. I agree with that. But what's so profoundly different about this bill is that this bill is to fund the government from now until September, and we didn't need to do that because we just have stopgap while we have time to evaluate the 8,500
Remember what
earmarks.
I said the other night on the show. This would be a test to see who is really in charge of Washington today. Is it Barack Obama or is it Nancy Pelosi? And he has delegated the legislative function to Nancy Pelosi. I think it is a big mistake. He has got to take charge. He's falling into the same trap that Jimmy Carter made, and it ruined his presidency. Remember in the late 70s, he let Tip O'Neill run Congress. That's exactly what...
But I also think that the American people aren't going to like language like this in his speech today, where he says this piece of legislation must mark an end to the old way of doing business. If he wanted to mark an end, he wouldn't have signed it. He would have sent it back. And so I think you lose the American people because we heard what he said in the run-up to election. You've got to keep your word with the American people.
It was the same thing, by the way, when he signed the stimulus bill, and the next day he says he's going to have a fiscal responsibility summit. I mean, the two things down and up. And the point of our conversation is now, the big headline is, now the Democrats, only less than a month after signing that bill into law, the ink isn't even dry on that legislation yet. Now the Democrats on the Appropriations Committee are saying, you know, we need another stimulus bill. We need to spend $500 billion more.
Let me ask you about that. I mean, they say we might need another second stimulus bill. I go back to the whole thing. It's like, where do they come up with these numbers? Upon what indicators or what facts do they suddenly say we need another one? Is there some? Are they looking at some?
The stock market has crashed. There's no question about it. I mean, we've seen a 25% reduction in the stock market. We had a lousy.
Is that why
but we also had a lousy jobs report that came out last month. But we knew that. I mean, we knew we were going to lose jobs.
So what's different? What's different in the last 24 hours that has suddenly had the appropriations?
My own opinion is it's opportunism. Remember what Rahm Emanuel said. He said a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. The Democrats, especially the liberal Democrats, are trying to use this crisis to cram as much debt and spending down our throats as they can while the crisis exists. And by the way, I believe that's what's causing the crisis is exactly the overspending that they are doing.
But they must have some sort of fear, like if they're on the wrong track, if they're really wrong, if they keep spending this is going to create a far bigger problem later than we have now. So you'd think they want to at least have some sort of put the brakes on a little bit to see how the first stimulus bill worked.
Well, that's where the American public is. You know, I was in your hometown of Wisconsin this weekend. 800 people showed up to a rally. And these people, and it was, by the way, Hispanics, blacks, young people. There is something going on in this country. People are angry about what is going on with this excessive spending. And you tell the American people we want to do another stimulus bill on top of this, I mean, it's going to cause a blow-up and riots.
Of course, the other thing is that where did they get the numbers? That's the scary part. And that's what the members of Congress don't want the American people to know, is that largely they're just pulled out of the hat.
Well, and we've already, don't forget, we've already spent $2 trillion already. Another $500 billion would be more money than the entire budget was 2 years ago.
Steve, thank you.